Merry Christmas, students, and welcome back once again. Me, Dr. Kaushik Sinar, for you, trying to help you out in coping with the very difficult subjects of different paramedical sciences, namely optometry, hospital management, medical laboratory technology, physiotherapy, and obviously the core, the mother science, the medical science. So, today I'm here to review a very specific subject called medical terminology that is taught under MACAUT for the subject of Bachelor's in Hospital Management, or nowadays they call it as the Bachelor's of Business Administration in Hospital Management. I will be reviewing a single particular paper subject, and for that I first need to get the syllabus of that subject. Here on your screen what you can see is a page of a Google. So from the internet I will go directly to the university's website to download the syllabus, and once downloaded I will then start reviewing the syllabus. In this particular video you will not only get how to study each and every topics of the subject, rather how to study smart, how to study in a very time efficient way so that you can master the concepts in much shorter time. So watch this video till the end. Take a note of every single points that I intend to give you so that you can study smart and efficient. Welcome. Let's dive into the video. I am now typing the particular keyword HOSPITAL MANAGEMENT syllabus SYLLABUS MACAUT. Since I already typed it before, so it was showing there. So this is exactly the page that opens once I type in that keyword. If I have to consider the latest syllabus, the latest one is given here, the date, the second one on which you can see my cursor pointing. So that is of the 2018 and 2019 session. So I'll be opening the link to this. This exactly is the link that opens. Fine. So it's basically a 40-page syllabus. Obviously we are not going to take the whole of the syllabus. We are only, for this particular video, we will pick a particular subject that is studied in the first semester. So these are the different list of subjects. I'll be highlighting few areas. This entire thing is the list of subjects that students has to study in the first semester. Of this, the topic for today is this middle one, the medical terminology, right? So if I scroll down, I will obviously get the view of other subjects. Let me scroll down and find out the detailed syllabus of that particular subject called medical terminology part 1. So here it begins from. You see the paper code given here. Principles of management and organization behavior. We will take detailed analysis and review of this syllabus later on in some other video. Moving down further, there is a syllabus of English. I am not going to make any kind of videos on this particular syllabus because this is actually a very common subject. You should be knowing these subjects even before you have joined the course of hospital management. Here is another subject. The irony out here is what I see, that the subject name, that is what is highlighted on your screen, and the subject code does not match out here. By the code it should be medical terminology, but the code is given under the name of a different subject. As you can read, it's a subject called Principles of Management and Organization Behavior. But this particular subject is having a different code. If we look up, I'm scrolling up for you to get a look of this. See the subject name same again, but this time in a different code. Ideally and actually, based on the experience of the past, the BHMN 103 is the subject code that is devoted only for medical terminology paper 1. So if I scroll down below to find out that code, here is the code BHMN103. That is actually the code for the subject of medical terminology, though maybe by a mistake the subject has been named here as principles of management and organizational behavior. Anyways, since our purpose is not to point errors but to rather review the topics, the syllabus and the methods by which we can learn the subject in shorter time in a much faster way, so I shall now dive into this particular syllabus straight away without further wasting time. Join me in this exciting session to learn how to cope up with the difficulties of medical terminology in a much faster, smarter and efficient way. Well friends, what you can see right on your screen is the syllabus as I have downloaded from the internet directly. Yeah, there is an error that is very clear on the very first line where you are seeing the name of the paper written as the principles of management and organization behavior. Yeah, there is a subject by this name, but this subject is not having the code of BHMN103, and that is having a separate code altogether, right? Now, since today in this particular video I am trying to review the entire syllabus of the medical terminology, and the code of medical terminology is BHMN 103, so rather I would put the name correct first as given here, medical terminology. So this is what I have put, the exact name. Now going into the details of the syllabus, what I first see that the syllabus is entirely divided into 4 different modules, right? And in each of these modules you are going to have each of this chapter. As you can see, I will be encircling the word chapter and the name of the chapter as it is given in the syllabus, basics of the human body. There is the chapter 2, which is coming under the module 2. It deals with the basics of human system. Chapter 3 that deals with the basics of the medical terminology, and the chapter 4 the basics of prescription reading. So these are the 4 different chapters or modules. You can say anything as you wish because each module is having only single chapters, right? Going by the volumes of these individual modules, if we have to enlist that, then we shall have to start counting the topics, the number of topics that is present in each of this chapter. So I would prefer to erase this to remove the clutter on the screen. I've erased just to remove the clutter, and as I go on reading the different topics, I will try to find out the number of topics in each of this module. So the first topic under the first chapter is given here as the level of organization of human. So this goes as the number 1 topic. Then the body planes, this goes as a topic number 2. Then the basic examination positions, this goes as the topic number 3. And the overview of medical kinds of medical imaging, this goes as the topic number 4. So the module 1 is having a total number of topics as 4, right? Moving now to the chapter number 2 or the module number 2, where the basics of human systems is given there. Okay. If you read the individual topics, in most of the topics you find a common word. The common word is Check that out, fundamentals. Even the word fundamentals is given out here. See, if you count the number of ticks that I have made, that gives you the number of topics that is there. There is another one. So a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and finally 10. A total of 10 topics are there in the module 2. So if you cumulate on the side, what you will get is till the module 2 number of topics is 4 plus 10 is equal to 14 topics. Moving down to the next one, the module 3. We can consider this first one, Introduction to Medical Terminology, as one topic. Then word formation as the next. Word formation and syntax as the next. Some Greek alphabets are used in the world of medical science, so that is the third one. Greek and Latin prepositional and adverbial prefixes, so that is the fourth one. Singular and plural endings, this is the fifth one. Commonly used prefixes in medical terminology, this stands as the sixth one. Commonly used suffixes in medical terminology, this stands as the seventh one. Commonly used word roots in medical terminology, this is the eighth one. And commonly used medical terms to define different parts of the body, this is the ninth one. So there are a total of 9 different topics in the module 3. So till module 3 cumulatively the number of topics is 14 plus 9 gives you 23. Moving down now to the chapter or the module 4. The first topic given here is common Latin terms used in prescription writing. Considering this as the first. Study of standard abbreviations used in prescription. So this should be considered as second, and the last one. So the total number of topics for module number 4 is 26. So wherein lies the story now? A total number of 26 topics is there, which you will need to cover up for this entire semester. If you are speaking of only the subject of medical terminology, the volume 1. There is another paper that is called the medical terminology part 2, but that comes in the second semester. As of now, we shall focus ourselves on how to cover up each of these 26 topics within the short, say around 1 to 2 months of time still left. And most of the colleges that I am teaching, I have completed at least 30 to 40% of the syllabus by this time. In one college I have completed almost 90% of the syllabus though, because that college has started earlier and the duration of time that I received is much more. The thing is, how to start with the syllabus. If that is the primary concern, I should be addressing that first, that how we should go on taking up the syllabus. we have to first get introduced to this subject of medical terminology. If I now erase the different annotations of numbers, then the screen gets clearer for writing now. Additional details. The particular detail that I would like you to draw your attention on is that the introductory chapter, the very basic thing, introduction, is there only on the module 3 of it, right? So since the introductory is there in the module 3, it is my habit to start the entire subject by this topic. So if you start by this chapter, Introduction to Medical Terminology, then things would probably be very easier to you, because when you get introduced to the subject, you willingly or unwillingly draw into the different systems also, because medical terms are formed based on the different systems of the body, the structure of the systems, the function of the systems, the diseases which each of these individual systems get struck with, right? So in that way, we must say that this particular chapter holds a special significance, because this one chapter cannot be covered in full unless and until you touch the other modules or the other chapter, right? So the method of going forward is to start from the introduction part. So once you are into this introduction part, then you get to know what the subject is all about. And as you get to know what the subject is all about, we can now dive into the individual parts of the subject. Better to dive from the module 3 directly to the module 2. This module is having the maximum number of topics. Look out here. I'm encircling the number of topics in this module. It's around 10. So it is having the maximum number of topics. Thing is, when you move on to chapter 2 or the module 2, then you can at the same time integrate the other topics of the module 3 with the topics of the module 2. So that specific advantage of integration that is possible when you go to chapter 2 or the module 2 after going through the first topic of the module 3, that integration is time saving actually, because at the same time you can go through the module 2 as well as the module 3. So if you're actually doing that, you are saving lots of time. Let me give you an example. Though I should be giving those examples in the live classes, and any of you who are willing can join me in the live classes also. But just to exemplify the point that I'm trying to illustrate, let me say, if I pick a topic of the chapter 3, say since we started the entire study with the chapter 3, we should pick a topic with the chapter 3. Okay. Let's say, for example, I am picking up this particular topic. What is this topic all about? Commonly used prefixes in medical terminology. So in this topic, I am trying to find out what are the prefixes that are used in medical terminology. Obviously, to find that out, we first must know what the medical prefixes are. What is the meaning of the medical prefixes? This must first be known. Okay. So if you have to know that, I will be taking an example term from where I will split and find out the concept of the medical prefix. So if I take, say for example, a very common term nowadays in this area of the in this time of the winter, the aged people, the grandma and the grandpa of our home, they complains of a problem of a pain in the joints. Now see, medically the problem is arthritis. So what exactly is the whole term? I will use up this space at the bottom of the syllabus. ARTHRITIS. So that is the spelling of arthritis. Now if I can split this two term into two different parts, what am I getting is the prefix part. So here will be the prefix and here will be the suffix. So you know that prefix and suffix join together to form the term, right? So the prefix is ARTHRO. Fine. And itis is the suffix. I am not going to the details of it, details of the suffix. So I am leaving this portion as of now and I am focusing on the prefix part because that is the topic that I have chosen. Now arthro, right? So you need to know what arthro is. Arthro, that is a word, obviously, that is made up of all these alphabets that you can see on your screen. That is fine. But if you are trying to know the meaning of this word, you should be correlating with some such concepts that you are already familiar with. So if you look into your own body, you will find joints, right? What I am speaking of is joints. So arthro is the prefix for joints. We can say it this way, that the arthro is the prefix for joints, right? So since you are knowing joints, automatically in order to develop some additional idea of joints, you will have to move back from module 3 back to a specific topic of the module 2. What is that? That is this one, the fundamentals of musculoskeletal system, because it is under this topic that you will find the study of joints therein. Okay, so that's why what you are doing is you are trying to cover up both the two modules simultaneously. So that saves the time. When in a less amount of time you have to study more, you have to earn more amount of concepts. So that is the concept of saving the time, right? This is how you can go on with both these two modules. Since the number of topics on the module 2 and the module 3 is maximum, you can see it's 10 on the module 2 and 9 on the module 3. So a total of 19 topics, taking both the module 2 and 3 together, you are having a total of 19 topics. If you can manage your time effectively on these two part or these two modules of the syllabus, you know, it's almost 70% of the entire preparation is done. You do not have to look into some other areas once you complete these two modules. So that exactly is the reason why I always prefer to start with the module 3 and then to correlate the individual topics of the module 2 with the module 3, because both the two modules can go simultaneously, both are very interrelated. Clear? Coming now to the other modules. Since you have already completed the module 2 and the module 3, leaving the module 1 behind, obviously the preferred option now is to move back to module 1, where you are having 4 topics. Yeah, I understand that the number 4 is more than the number 3. That is the number of topics that you are having in the module 4. So 4 topics of the module 1 and 3 topics of the module 4. 3 topics of the module 4 can be covered later on because the number of topics is less in the module 4. Number of topics in module 1 is more than the number of topics is in module 4. So it's now better to start the module 1 now. Why is this so? Because if you have already covered the individual systems, that means you are already through with the concept of organ systems of the body. Right? So once you know organ system, it is now very easy to understand the concept of level of organization of humans. That exactly is the first concept or the first topic of the module 1. Done. Once you do this, then you can move to body planes. In fact, in order to make a detailed idea of all the different systems of the body, you must go through the body planes, at least the preliminary ideas. Okay, so here in this video itself I can give you the concept of body planes. That's not a very difficult concept. I mean, if you take any three-dimensional object, you can then divide that object in 3 different planes. So these are known as the body planes. We have the concept of sagittal plane, we have the concept of coronal plane, we have the concept of transverse planes. These 3 are the major planes that are found in the body. I mean, in which the body can be divided. Details of this body planes obviously can come under a separate video. If you wish, you can put your request in the comment box to make a separate video on the body planes. I will definitely make a video on body plane. But body plane is actually a very simple concept that would hardly consume, say, a maximum of 2 class. If you spend around 2 hours on this particular topic of body plane, that will cover up this entire concept of body planes. Right. After the body planes, what is there is the basic examination positions. I will tell you in very brief what it is actually. When patients come to the physician starts examining the patient disease, the patient's problem. And in order to do so, there are certain position of the body in which the entire process of examination is carried out. These positions are to be studied under the concept of basic examination positions. That is the 3rd topic of the module 1. It would take maximum, again, say 2 hours to cover this up. Okay. And finally, the overview of various kinds of medical imaging. Herein comes a bit detail. Medical imaging means image, you know what images are. So to draw something of a real is an image, or to find some impressions that are of the real is an image, right? So obviously, if there is a disease inside, it's not possible to directly move inside to find out what is happening. Whatever is happening inside needs to be known from outside. And in order to know that, at times we might need to create images of what is occurring inside. So if we have to create images of what exactly is occurring inside, we need to perform specific procedures. Those procedures are described here. Different modalities will be described, as for example, X-ray, CT scan, USG, PET scans, all such different scans that can help the physician or the radiographer to obtain images of what is going inside the body. Those processes will be described here, and it should consume maximum, say, around 4 hours of time for the medical imaging, right? So how much time? I will be giving you separate writing on this particular video itself, where the time required or the time distributions would be there. Fine. Okay, so that is how, by spending around say 6 to 7 hours of time, 6 to 7 hours of time, you can complete the entire lesson in module 1. So what are you now left with? You have completed module 1, you have completed module 2, you have completed module 3. Now you are left with the module 4, prescription reading. Here you have to know different short abbreviations that doctors and the physicians write on their prescriptions, so as to communicate the exact way by which the medications needs to be consumed by the patient, or the different investigative procedures are also written on the prescription. Investigative procedures means the medical imaging, or it, apart from medical imaging, it might be different laboratory tests also that needs to get conducted. All this is to be there in the prescription, right? So once a prescription is given to the patient might become confused and might ask anybody in the working in the hospital to help him with the prescription. So in order to render that help to the patient, you people, I mean the people who will be working in the hospital industry, need some preliminary knowledge on how to read the prescriptions or what kind of words are used in the prescriptions. So you need to take a note of one thing, that is, words are used in prescriptions either in their whole form or in some short abbreviated form. But what is used are again medical words. So once you are thorough with the remaining 3 modules, because in the remaining 3 modules, module 1, module 2 and module 3, you will get the entire whole of the medical terms which are now used in writing the prescription. So if you have to understand the prescription quite well so that you can explain the prescription to your patient, you have to develop the knowledge of medical terms, which is expected if you have completed the other 3 modules very well, right? So that way module 4 even doesn't take much time. I mean to say, if you just say devote around 3 to 4 hours time, that way you can even complete the module 4. Okay, so now speaking of the total amount of time that would be required, the minimum time that would be required, minimum and the maximum time that would be required to complete the entire syllabus for this particular subject. Okay, what I will do is I will erase this entire board for you. There might be some important areas which you need to take note of. What you can do is you can go back to this video, pause a video at a particular point in time where you need to take note of the materials. Okay, that way you can even rewind the video and replay a multiple number of times until and unless you are thorough with the amount of time that you need to devote on this particular subject, right? So what I'm doing is I am now erasing this entire writing so that I can at the end of the video give you the amount of time that you need to devote to complete this particular subject. So the video might be a bit long in erasing these materials out. Please bear. It's almost done, right? I might even edit this erasing parts. So the screen is now clear with the sight of only. Okay, now speaking of the time requirements, time requirements. I already said around say 5 to 6 hours on the minimum side, or 8 to 10 hours on the maximum side. So here I will give you the minimum and here I will give you the maximum for covering up the module 1. This obviously is having 10 different topics and you need to integrate the module 2 with the module 3. So this would obviously consume time. If I can say that for each of this system you need to devote at least 3 different times, I would say out here you need to devote around a minimum of say 20 to 25 hours in this particular module, module 2 on the minimum side, and around 30 to 35 hours on the maximum side. Done. Since we are integrating the module 2 with the module 3, so while you do this, a part of the module 3 gets covered. So if there be any other parts that is left, that is still left, then you can spend say on the minimum side, if I speak of, then 4 to 5 hours of time. 4 to 5 hours of time, and on the maximum side it can be say around 7 to 8 hours of time. Moving now to the module 4, if you speak of the time, then something around again 4 to 5 hours, and on the maximum side it will be around, I can consider it as 8 to 10 hours. Right, now if we add up, find out the hours that you should devote so as to complete this entire part. Yeah, there are people who might be completing it in lesser amount of time, but as you try to complete in lesser amount of time, make sure you have 2 things in place. One is you have already some amount of knowledge before you got inducted to this particular subject. That could be one scenario, or else another scenario is that your reading speed or your understanding speed is very fast. What I have given in this particular video is the average time that can be required by an average student. Okay, so if I add this up on the lowest side, what I am getting, 5 plus 20 gives me 25 plus 4, 29 plus 4, around 33 hours. That's right. Again, let me have a check. 5 plus 20 is 24. 24 plus 20 is 25, plus 4 is 29, and 4 33. Correct. And what about the other side of this range? 6 plus 25 gives me 31, and 5 gives me 36, and 5 gives me 41 hours. So 33 to 41 hours on the minimum side. On the maximum side, how much is that? 8 plus 30 gives me 38. 38 plus 7 gives me 45. 45 plus 8 gives me 53. 2. Other side of this maximum range will be 10 plus 35 gives me 45. 45 and 8 gives me 33. 33 and 10 gives me, it should be more, right? 10 plus 35 is 45. 45 and 8 gives me 53, and 10 gives me 63. So on the minimum size, 33 to 41 hours, I will take the value to a round up one, about say 40 hours. That is on the minimum side, the average. And on the maximum side, it will be 60 hours. taking a round of value between say 53. Okay, so 40 to 60 hours, what I'm getting the central gist of the story is that you require around 40 to 60 hours, I write here on the top, of time to complete the entire syllabus. So if you're still having 60 days of time left, you just can now imagine that you divide that 60 hours, devote at least 1 hour each day to cover up this entire syllabus. You will do very fine in the examinations if you can devote at least 1 hour to this particular topic. So with that, I will now draw the curtain on this video. If you are having any kind of comments, any kind of suggestions, then you are welcome to put those comments and suggestions into the comment section below. As well as if you are willing to ask me any questions, if you're having any doubts that you want me to clarify, you are welcome to text me in the WhatsApp number that is given below. Thank you. Have a nice time and Merry Christmas. Happy New Year in advance. Thanks.